All right, good morning, Bell Tire. Fourth game coming from the JWHL. Starting us out here, Bell Tire Culver. We're going to have Bellucci, Hewer, Kazarowski, Martin, and Mackenzie Flanagan on the ice. Here we go. Culver in their zone. Going up to neutral. Coming cross ice, disrupted by Bellucci. Now dumping it deep. Mackenzie back behind her own net. Going to go up center and looking for Hewer. Just past her stick. Misfire by Culver. Sent back into the zone at the feet of Mackenzie. Over to Martin. Martin up the wall. Finding Bellucci, who dumps it deep into the Culver zone. Behind their own net, they go back and forth. D up to the half wall. Breakout pass coming. And disrupted by Agbe as she jumps on ice with Dobbs and Markovich. Culver now retreating back behind their net. Dobbs chasing. Markovich on the half wall. Trying to get it out. Dobbs. They're going to get a centering pass over to Agbe. Agbe with the puck. Markovich coming it back to Mackenzie. Flanagan. Shot in. Is going to be covered up by Culver's goalie with 15:58 on the clock. And we're going to have Morton and Caitlin Flanagan in on D for Bell Tire. Puck is down. Dobbs on that draw. Agbe tied up. Dobbs in the corner. Pinching up against the half wall. Agbe shifting that back to Flanagan. Flanagan going to the half wall. Dobbs shot in. Covered up by Culver. Markovich going for a change. And the forward line is going to go for a change here. As Day, Clemens, and Cruciano step out for Bell Tire. Morton and Caitlin still out on D. Grund in net for Bell Tire this morning. Half wall for Culver. Up to neutral. Morton on defense here. Morton pinching into the wall. Puck going behind the Bell Tire net. Caitlin swinging it out to Cruciano. Good play out to Day. Clemens unable to maintain control. That puck going down deep into the Culver zone. Now back through into Bell Tire. At Day's feet, up against the wall. Culver's going to drop it down to the corner, or Morton will pick up. Morton rink wide, intercepted by Culver. Shot goes wide of the net. Fortunate break for Bell Tire there. Culver sending it back down deep. Caitlin Flanagan getting a stick on it, moving it up the half wall. Picked up by Cruciano. Cruciano going to pin up against the half wall and send it out into neutral. Culver regains possession, sending it up. Quick pass out. Hewer back out on ice for Bell Tire. Down in the corner, Culver going up top to their point. Chased by Kazarowski. Back to the half wall. Keeping it down in the corner now. Out front, that puck's going to slide up top to the point. Chased by Kazarowski, who gets a stick on it and sends it out to neutral. Culver to reset. Bellucci getting her stick on it there. Hewer, offsides for Bell Tire. I didn't think that puck came out. Our line change for Bell Tire is going to bring out Agbe, Markovich, Dobbs. Bowman out with Mackenzie Flanagan. Puck is down. Mackenzie dropping it down deep into the Culver zone. Culver's goalie playing it behind her net. Playing it up the wall to the half wall. Breakout pass. Connected. Disrupted by Caitlin. Picked up by Dobbs. Sent back down deep. Chased by Agbe. Markovich now dropping it up to Bowman. Bowman's going to go back down to Markovich. Markovich trying to center into Agbe. Blocked by Culver. Kept at the half wall. Agbe with possession now. Markovich going down to a knee to try and keep that in. Culver breaking out here through neutral. Mackenzie on defense. Centering pass by Culver. Shot in. Put Culver up 1-0. All right, so Bell Tire with some work to do. 13:40 on the clock. Bellucci, Hewer, Kazarowski, Martin, and Caitlin Flanagan in. Tied up, Hewer. And Culver drops it back to their D into their zone. Chased by Palucci. Up to half ice. Palucci applying a lot of pressure here. Culver going to retreat. As 3 takes him on. Stepped in by Hewer at the half wall. Hewer keeping that puck deep into the Culver zone. And I believe we're going to get a penalty interference on Culver. That's going to put Bell Tire onto a quick power play here in game 4. Markovich, Dobbs, Agbay, Martin, Mackenzie Flanagan out for Bell Tire. Dobbs on the draw. Just waiting on the scoreboard operator to get the 2 minutes up. And that puck is down to Martin. Martin walking up. Out to Flanagan. Flanagan to Markovich. Markovich back up to Flanagan. Flanagan down to Markovich. Markovich up to Flanagan. Flanagan back to Markovich. Markovich turning. Markovich to Flanagan. Flanagan down to Martin. Martin, quick shot in. Going to get gloved aside. Picked up by Dobbs. Dobbs to Markovich. Markovich up to Flanagan. Down to Markovich. Markovich to Flanagan. Flanagan down to Martin. Martin walking in. Shot in. It's going to be deflected wide over to Markovich. Markovich trying to go over to Martin. Martin walking from the hash. Turn in. Looking for Dobbs. Dobbs' shot went wide. Martin going over to Markovich on the half wall. Markovich with possession up top by the point. Markovich down to Martin. Markovich back up top. Martin to Flanagan. Flanagan shot in. It's going to go wide of the net. Picked up by Agbay. Now Markovich to Flanagan. Over to Martin. Martin. Shot. Gloved by Culver. Good series for the Bell Tire power play there. I'll bring a line change in. 51 seconds. Palucci out with Hewer, Hazarowski, Caitlin Flanagan, and Martin. Hewer on this draw. 51 seconds remaining in the power play for Bell Tire. Culver with possession now. Go back the other way and try and rim it out. Picked up by Flanagan. Flanagan drops it to the half wall. Culver's going to get that cleared on net. It's going to be picked up by Martin down behind her own net. Martin rolling out wide. Coming up the wall. Going to Palucci. Palucci crossing half ice. Going across to Kazarowski. Kazarowski trying to play back quick to Palucci, picked up by Martin. Martin dropping it back down deep, and that puck picked up by Palucci. Palucci turning the corner. Just inside the Culver zone. That's going to get sent back down to the Bell Tire zone, where it's going to be picked up by Grun behind her net. Martin now with Culver hanging out front of the net. Martin coming free. Going up to Flanagan. Tips it into center ice. Now picked up by Flanagan. Flanagan turning up ice. Going wide. Dumped in by Cruciano. Who's out with Day and Clemens. Caitlin Flanagan. Morton on ice. Culver back to even strength. Culver gaining the Bell Tire zone, and we're going to have an offsides. 11:05 on the clock. Puck is down. Day on that draw. Over to Morton. Morton grabbing that puck, going up the wing. Now picked up by Clemens. Clemens dropping it back down into the Bell Tire zone. Played out by Flanagan. Looking for Clemens on the wall. Played up. Culver trying to get it deep. Day disrupting the play. Culver still with possession. Going straight to the net. Turned aside by Grun. Culver in the corner. Dropping it back to their point. Culver going across. Point to point. Shot in. Blocked by Cruciano. And now down in the corner. Cruciano playing at the half wall here. Culver going point to point. Shot in. Tipped wide of the net. It's going to go to the half wall. It's going to be picked up by Cruciano, who turns up ice and plays it out to center ice, where it's picked up by Culver as she goes for a change. Now Mackenzie Flanagan out with Morton, Dobbs, Markovich, Agbay. Dobbs playing up to Agbay. Couldn't quite get possession. Picked up by Morton. Morton sending it back up to Agbay. Agbay with a little bit of room to work. Painting the zone. Drop pass to Markovich is intercepted by Culver. Culver circling their net. Agbay regaining possession. Sending it out front. And it's out there. Markovich with a shot on net. Played out. Sent back. Looking for her point. Goes wide of Martin. Martin chases back. catches it in her zone, turns the corner, and plays it up ice. That gets dumped down deep into the Bell Tire zone. Bowman sending it around to Agbe. Agbe pushing it up the wall. For Dobbs, finally clear out to neutral. Culver going D to D. Through neutral. Martin to defend here. Shot through, and that is wide of the net. Bowman pinning in the corner. Hewer jumping to help. Going up the wall, trying to find Kazarowski. Culver. And Hewer gets a block on that as they're trying to regain the Bell Tire zone. Now going back the other way. Shot in. Goes up on the rebound shot by Hewer. Just wide of the net. Hewer sending it back down deep. Kazarowski, Palucci chasing. Culver dumping it back to the right side of their net. Coming up to the half wall. Coming out to neutral. Caitlin Flanagan pinching on the wall. And Culver going back, retreating into their own zone. Bell Tire going for a line change. That's going to bring out Day, Clemens, Luciano, McKenzie, and Caitlin Flanagan. Puck in neutral, picked up by McKenzie. McKenzie going to send it down deep into the Culver zone. Play behind their net by their goalie. Cleared up to the point. Just going to go past Caitlin's stick and go down into the Bell Tire zone. Picked up by McKenzie. Hits the brakes and turns back the other way. Coming up the left side of the ice. Played up to Clemens. Off her stick. Intercepted by Culver. Culver circles. Come up through neutral. Clemens getting that puck back. Some hard second effort there by Clemens. Mackenzie Flanagan now in the corner with two Culver players playing it up the wall to Cruciano. Dobbs jumping in to try and clear that puck free and gets it down into the Culver zone as Bell Tire goes for another line change. Flanagan sending it across to Morton. Morton hitting it up the wall, looking for Agbe. He caught an edge. Dobbs there to help. Markovich, Dobbs, Agbe out on ice for Bell Tire. Chipped in by Culver, chased down by Morton. Morton hits the brakes at the half wall, sends it up for Markovich. Markovich trying to get it to Dobbs. He sends it out to Agbe. Agbe is just going to send it down deep into Culver zone for an icing. On ice, we're going to have Kazarowski, Palucci, Hewer, Morton, Martin. 7:29 on the clock. 1-0 Culver up right now. Hewer to take the draw. Puck is down. Culver sending it back to their point. Sending it now down deep. Martin to play it out. Martin pinning it up against the wall. Culver taking and going down to the opposite corner. Now sending it up to their point. Culver shot in, goes wide of the net. Hewer jamming it up the boards, trying to get it clear. Picked up by Morton. Morton going up the wall. Finding Culver intercepting the pass, playing it wide. Going to be caught by Culver at half ice. Now played by Martin over to Morton in her own D. Morton going up ice, finding Palucci. Palucci at the half wall, chipping it back out into neutral. It's going to be chased down by Bowman here, down in Bell Tire zone. Running up ice, going up to Day. Day trying to get it cleared over half ice, picked up by Bowman. Bowman going wide to and Caitlin, and that shot is going to go over top of the net. Sent back down, picked up by Clemens. Clemens crossing half ice, sending it over to Cruciano. Cruciano overskated, picked up by Culver. Culver sending it rink wide. Culver gaining the zone, coming down through the slot, picked up by Clemens. Clemens now turning back up ice, going through neutral. Trying to send it forward, and gets it into the Culver zone. 6:05 on the clock. Culver going rink wide, missing its mark, picked up by Flanagan. Flanagan turning up ice, going to send it forward where Markovich is there to try and pester and get that puck going deep. Dobbs, Agbe, Markovich out. Dobbs turning the corner. Dobbs going down deep into the Culver zone. And Agbe stepping in to help out behind the Culver net. Culver now sending it out to their half wall. Going up ice, Markovich trying to keep that puck in. And does. Markovich sends it deep as they go for a line change with Caitlin and Mackenzie Flanagan out on D. Hewer, Kazarowski, Palucci in for Bell Tire. Kazarowski trying to get possession here. Hewer now just at the point of Culver's zone. Culver makes their way out to neutral. And a little bit of a run in there with Palucci and a Culver player. That puck sent deep Down behind the Bell Tire net, picked up by Mackenzie Flanagan, going back to Caitlin. Intercepted by Culver, and Caitlin pins them in the corner. Hewer stepping in to try and poke that puck free. Culver comes out with it. Hewer still pinning that player up against the wall. Culver now circling the Bell Tire net, sent it to their point. Shot in is going to be blocked by Palucci. Hits her hand, and she's going to go for a change. Centering pass disrupted by Mackenzie Flanagan, sent up top to the Culver defenseman, who shoots it in wide of the net. Picked up by Culver, circling down into the corner. Caitlin Flanagan down, trying to help out, and that puck finally broke free. Sent up the wall by Flanagan. It's caught up at the point by Culver and sent back down into the half wall. Caitlin Flanagan pressuring here. Markovich jumping in, trying to poke that puck free. And going to be blown dead. We'll restart play here in the Bell Tire zone with a draw coming in just to the left of Grund. We'll have Morton and Martin in on D with Agbe, Dobbs, and Markovich out for Bell Tire. Puck is down. Dobbs on the draw, tied up at the dot. Puck trying to come free, and it does come free over to Agbe's stick, sending it wide to Markovich, intercepted by Culver. Over in the neutral zone, now circling back slightly into their zone. Now gaining across the line, picked up by Morton. Morton going up top over Dobbs, misses her stick, played by Culver's goalie. Dobbs skating in hard, applying pressure. Cruciano coming in. And Clemens, Dobbs going for a change. Culver to the half wall, coming through neutral, defended by Martin. Stepped in. Martin disrupts the play at the half wall. Picked up by Clemens. Clemens going wide to Cruciano. Just misses her stick. Cruciano trying now. Cruciano going to pin it up against the wall, where her and Day have spent a lot of time battling pucks. And finally wakes his way free. Culver retreating into their zone before coming out to neutral. Now defended by Martin. Getting into their zone. Half wall turned back. Slobbed up into Day. Now Palucci. Palucci's now gaining the zone. Back turn. Nice stick. That's going to be a high stick on Culver. All right, so Bell Tire's going to go back onto a power play here with 2:48 on the clock. Just about the rest of this first period. Bell Tire's going to be on a power play. We've got Agbe out with Dobbs, Markovich, Martin, and Mackenzie Flanagan. Puck is down. Culver walking out at the half wall, sent back to Flanagan. Flanagan sending it back down to Markovich. I'm sorry, now that's Dobbs. Dobbs up to Markovich. Markovich to Flanagan. Flanagan shot in, blocked out front, picked up by Martin. Martin trying to get it down deep, sends it around, finding Dobbs. Dobbs backhands up to Markovich. Markovich coming across, going over to Martin. Martin sending that to net, off the post, and picked up by Agbe. Agbe to Dobbs. Dobbs sending it up to Markovich. Markovich over to Flanagan. Flanagan up top, circling, shot down to Martin. And that's going to be clear, almost, that is cleared out. Offsides waved, and that's sent down deep into the Bell Tire zone by Culver, picked up by Flanagan behind her net. Flanagan coming up ice, going wide, missing Markovich's stick, goes to Culver. Markovich trying to keep it in, and that's going to roll across over to Martin. Martin collecting in her zone. Martin going up ice to Markovich. Markovich now backhanding to Flanagan. Flanagan going up to Hewer. Hewer gaining the zone. Hewer walking in. Hewer's going to drive. Hewer's going to turn at the half wall and go across to Caitlin Flanagan, who circles up top, going down now to Palucci. Palucci to Flanagan. Flanagan shot in. Going to be blocked out front. Puck was loose in the crease. And we're going to have a penalty there on Hewer on a trip. So that's going to put us on even 4-on-4 here for the next 23 seconds. And then Bell Tire will go on to a penalty kill for 1 minute and 37 seconds. That's going to come down into our end. So on this penalty kill, I'm sorry, on this 4-on-4, we're going to start out with Agbe, Dobbs, Caitlin Flanagan, and Martin. Puck is down, Culver with possession, up top to their point, and gloved by Grund on that shot. 1 minute and 5 remaining here in the first period. Same personnel for Bell Tire. Puck is down, Culver with possession, up top to their point. Now coming back down, shot in, goes, well, I'm sorry, the pass down low, goes wide, mishandled, shot, rocket shot from the point, missed the net. That puck just barely staying in, now going down deep. Martin with possession behind the net, making her way free, up to Agbe. Agbe's just going to chip it out. That's going to actually get inside the Bell Tire bench as that penalty came off the clock. So Bell Tire now on a 1 minute and 29-second penalty kill. On ice for Bell Tire's Colucci, Markovich, Caitlin Flanagan, and Martin for the penalty kill. Puck is down. Culver sending it up top, going point to point, now down to their half wall. Sending it behind the net. Bell Tire spreading out. Shot in, goes wide of the net. Picked up at the half wall. Chased by Markovich. Shot in. Goes wide of the net. Markovich losing her stick in the process. Chased down now by Martin. Shot goes wide. That's going to roll out of the zone and out to neutral. Mackenzie Flanagan going for a change. Agbe on ice with Dobbs, Flanagan, and Martin. And that will be the end of the first period. No ice cut. We had fresh ice to start. So Cure will come out of the box for the intermission chat with the coaches. All right, as we get back going here, we're going to have Agbe, Dobbs, Martin, and Mackenzie Flanagan on ice for 48 seconds remaining in the Cure penalty. Here we go. Puck is down. Flanagan sending it deep into the Culver zone to start us off. Culver behind their own net. Dobbs was just going to contain. Culver to their half wall. Rink wide, Dobbs got a stick on it. Made its way, though. This is going to be defended by Martin. Sending her to the corner, now behind the Bell Tire net. Picked up by Flanagan. Up top to their point, D to D. Jumped up by Agbay. Agbay applying a lot of pressure. And now Culver going down low, centering pass, picked up by Agbay. Agbay with possession and is met behind the net. Shot in, blocked by, I don't know if that was Dobbs, I think maybe, and now that puck finally picked up by Grund. 2 seconds remaining in the penalty kill here. Hewer ready to jump back out on ice. Bell Tire going for a line change. He's going to bring out Bowman, Caitlin Flanagan, Palucci, and Markovich. Palucci on the draw. Puck is down. Hewer out of the box. Culver with possession. Palucci chasing around. Sent ahead by Bowman to Hewer. Hewer trying to find Markovich in stride. Culver intercepted. Down to the half wall. Now picked up by, Markovich just off his skate. Culver centering pass. And now at the half wall is Culver. Palucci taken down from behind. That's going to end up on a penalty here. We got a cross check. So Bell Tire going to go on to a power play. Looks like the penalty tides have turned for Bell Tire. Last night, looking at the stats, we were leading in that category with 38 penalty minutes through 3 games. Welcome to Detroit. All right, Kazarowski, Palucci, Hewer, dropping it back, going to Flanagan. Flanagan circling, going down to Palucci. Palucci shot in off the post. Martin stepping in here, keeping it down deep. Down to Hewer. Hewer's going back up to Palucci. Palucci to Flanagan. Flanagan down to Palucci. Palucci going across to Martin, and Culver gets a stick on it to disrupt. Martin sends it back down around to Hewer. Hewer gets pinned where Kazarowski steps in, sends it up top to the half wall to Hewer. Flanagan down to Martin. Martin shot in, blocked by Culver, and smothered up behind the net. That's going to come out to half wall, and they're going to just drop deep down into the Bell Tire zone where it's going to circle and be picked up by Flanagan in the corner of Bell Tire zone. Going over to Martin. Martin, time coming up to Markovich. Markovich catches it and is going to drop it down deep where Hewer's going to chase. Sorry, that was Kazarowski. No, that was Markovich. Markovich now sending it up the wall to Agbay. Agbay sending it up to Flanagan. 51 seconds remaining here. Agbay, Markovich, Martin going over to Martin. Martin sending it in, looking for Agbay. Goes wide of the net, picked up by Markovich at the half wall, up to Flanagan. Flanagan's shot, going to get blocked out front. Flanagan going down to Martin. Martin shot in, gets blocked, and goes around to Agbay where she sends it to Dobbs. Dobbs going back up to Markovich. Markovich to Flanagan. Flanagan shot in, going to get some traffic out front and get cleared. 20 seconds. Bell Tire's going to have enough time here for one more rush if they hurry. That'll be picked up by Flanagan. 12 seconds. Sending it up top. Going to be intercepted by Culver and get sent back down deep. And that will be expiring the power play for Bell Tire. Culver back to even strength. Kazarowski trying to go up to Palucci. Intercepted by Culver. Palucci applying pressure, and Culver going behind their net. Hewer, Kazarowski, Palucci out on ice for Bell Tire with Caitlin, Flanagan, and Martin. That's going to be picked up by Kazarowski. Kazarowski going to take a shot in. It's going to go wide of the net. Bounce back out and be played behind. Here's Kazarowski again, and going across the goal mouth. Clemens now at the half wall. And Caitlin, Flanagan, and Morton out with Evans, Cruciano, and Clemens. Evans battling back behind the net. At the half wall is Culver going up top to their point. Mishandled a little bit, blocked by Clemens. Down in the corner. Culver, centering pass. One-time shot blocked by Grund, picked up by Morton. Morton going out, and that's going to make its way all the way to the end of the ice here for an icing. So 12:31 on the clock in the second period. Bell Tire still looking for the equalizer. Markovich stopping out with Dobbs and Advay. Caitlin Flanagan and Morton. Puck is down. Caitlin Flanagan going behind her net to Morton. Morton looking for a stretch pass. Going to miss its mark and roll down for an icing. So we'll redo down here in the Bell Tire zone. Dobbs on this draw. Puck is down. And that puck is now at the half wall, picked up by Dobbs. Dobbs going to try and chip it ahead. Back to the half wall. Markovich trying to clear. Culver shot in. Wide of the net. Picked up at the other half wall by Culver. Sending it across, looking for their D. D stepping in. Shot in. Covered up by Grund. Freezing play. All right, line change for Bell Tire is going to bring back out Hewer, Kazarowski, and Palucci. Puck is down. And that shot from Culver wide, picked up by Kazarowski, chipping it ahead. Going to roll into the Culver zone behind their net. Palucci's going to chase. Up the wall, and at the half wall, picked up by Flanagan. And sent back down by Culver behind their net. Culver hitting the brakes at the corner and sending it back the opposite way, up to the half wall, where it's picked in and collected in by Kazarowski, who keeps it deep, down into the corner. And Palucci applying pressure. Half wall for Culver. Back down to the corner. Palucci back in. Palucci going up top, trying to find Flanagan. Flanagan circles. Flanagan circles. Sending it wide to Morton. Morton centering pass. Goes wide. Picked up at the half wall by Culver. Culver circling their net. And it looks like Evans got a stick on that. Cruciano with a centering pass. Bell Tire defense change brings, and I'm sorry, it's got Clemens now at the hash marks here. Sends it in. That's going to go off a skate. I don't know whose skate, if that was Evans or Culver, but that's going to go off and put this game back to even. It looks like that might have been Rania that got a stick on it now. So Bell Tire is going to even it up at 1 with 10:48 on the clock. Cruciano, Evans, Clemens, Mackenzie Flanagan, and Martin out on ice. I'm sorry, that is Bowman out on ice for Bell Tire. Culver retreating into their zone a little bit. Clemens getting a stick on it, picked up by Evans. Evans going up the wall, finding Clemens. Clemens trying to backhand in, intercepted by Culver. And now Culver going deep into the Bell Tire zone. Culver circling the Bell Tire net, up to their point. That puck came out of the zone. Now I was going to say that has to be an offsides. And that's going to get sent down deep by Clemens, picked up by Culver. Behind their net, coming up to their half wall. Collected in, sent rink wide. And now Culver into the Bell Tire zone. Defended by Martin. Martin with a stick on it. Regains possession, sends it up the wall. And doesn't quite make its way out now. Martin's going to turn the corner here. Coming up against the wall. Martin going down deep. He's going to win the foot race. Get in there first. And get taken out in the process. Maintaining possession. Agbay stepping in to help out. Martin coming back in. Martin now coming free with the puck. Martin going down up top to Caitlin Flanagan. Flanagan sending it in. It's traffic. And is finally cleared out by Culver. Good series by Bell Tire. It's a high stick there. They're not going to. There we go. All right, a little bbit of disagreement on the call here. It's too early for that. All right, Agbay, Dobbs, Markovich, Martin, Caitlin Flanagan down for Bell Tire. Puck is at the half wall. Markovich is fighting. Culver trying to get it cleared. Culver makes clear, comes out to neutral. It's going to be defended by Martin. Martin, and that puck goes down into the corner, sent back up top. Makes its way clear, free. I'm not sure how that save happened, but Grund with a good save there to keep that puck out of the net as it tipped in front and made a left-hand turn. All right, Kazarovski out there with Hewer, Palucci, Martin, and I believe Caitlin Flanagan. Puck is down. Culver with possession up top to their point. Sending it down deep. This is going to be chased down by Martin behind the net. And now Hewer stepping in to help. Culver going back up top. E to D. Pressured by Palucci. Shot in. Wide of the net. Flanagan trying to get her stick on it. Culver at the half wall. Palucci intercepting that pass. And shot in. Goes wide of the net. Picked up by Kazarovski. She's going to send it to length. That'll be an icing. 8:28 on the clock. Line change for Bell Tire brings out Mackenzie Flanagan, Evans, Cruciano, Clemens, and Morton. Puck played up by Flanagan, now picked up by Evans. Evans going to the half wall for Morton. Morton going up top. That's going to be waved off for icing, so a foot race now for Clemens and Cruciano. They collapse behind the Culver net. Culver sending it up top, coming clear into neutral. And they're going to send it down deep into the Bell Tire zone where it's going to be chased down by Mackenzie Flanagan. Evans trying to get that puck up to Cruciano. Makes his way back behind the Bell Tire net. Morton playing with her backhand. Clemens trying to dump it back to Morton, intercepted by Culver. Culver stepping in. Shot goes wide of the net. Chasing it down now is Morton. Up top to the point by Culver. Culver stepping in, taking a shot. That is blocked out front. And back up to the point where it's sent back down deep by Culver. Morton trying to get her stick on it, try and get it clear. Finally makes free, gets it up to Cruciano. Cruciano backhands it up where it's collected by Culver. Shot in goes deflected by Grund into the netting. 7:16 on the clock. Bell Tire line change is going to bring back out Caitlin Flanagan, Morton, Bowman, Agbay, Markovich, and Dobbs. Puck is down into the corner. The half wall for Culver. Culver going E to D, sending it back down deep. This is going to be chased down by Caitlin Flanagan. Culver back up top. Culver D to D. Missed pass, and they're going to send it back down behind the Bell Tire net. Down in the corner. Culver going to go back behind the Bell Tire net where it's intercepted by Dobbs, pushing it up to the half wall. Culver intercepting that and still at the half wall, dropping it back up to their point. Pull back move. Dropped off, and Culver sends it in. Deflected wide, picked up by Agbay at the half wall. Agbay with possession. Over half ice and trying to send it deep. Agbay still battling to keep it deep. And that puck centering pass is off of Hewer's skate. Culver now with possession, gaining the zone. Shot in. Covered up by Grund to freeze play. As Bell Tire goes for a line change. That's going to bring out Martin and McKenzie on D, Kazarovski, Palucci, and Hewer. Hewer on the draw. 6:16 on the clock. Puck is down. Culver dropping it back to their point, going D to D, chased by Palucci, sent down deep by Culver behind the Bell Tire net, picked up by Martin. Martin getting it up to Hewer. Hewer with possession now at the half wall, off the wall for Kazarowski. Kazarowski gaining the zone, sending it in on net. Culver's goalie sends it to the corner, picked up by Hewer. Hewer to Palucci. Palucci up to Flanagan. Flanagan dropping it back to Palucci. Palucci tried a one-time quick shot, and then that's going to break free. Now Culver going to be Martin 2-on-1, sending it up top. Mishandled pass. Going to go to the corner. Picked up by Kazarowski at the half wall. Battling. Evans is in there. Evans is going to get it chipped out. And now Martin's stepping up to keep that puck moving forward. Culver able to catch it and send it back in. And that puck's going to make its way into the Culver zone as Bell Tire hits for a line change. And they're going to send that deep into the Bell Tire zone where it's going to be picked up by Flanagan, sending it up to Cruciano. Cruciano backhanding into the Culver zone. So you got Cruciano, Evans, Clemens, Morton, and Evans is hauled down in front of the net. Caitlin Flanagan out on deep for Bell Tire as well. Morton with possession, sending it down deep into the Culver zone. Delayed offsides. Bell Tire clear, coming back in. Cruciano disrupting that pass out, and it's finally cleared out of the zone. Sent around to Flanagan. Flanagan going back across ice to Dobbs. Dobbs trying to chip it in. Culver keeping it in neutral, and now it's sent back in by Morton. Markovich down in the corner battling up top. That's going to be finding Morton. Morton going across to Flanagan. Flanagan shot in, tipped out front by Agbe. Bouncing puck goes wide of the net. And now sent up the wall. Morton's going to pinch in, try and keep that puck deep. And it's going to make its way free. That's going to go down, but no icing. 3:52 on the clock. Flanagan playing up to Agbe. Agbe tipped to Palucci. Palucci back to Agbe. Just missed the stick. Collected in by Culver. Culver going deep. Played by Flanagan. Flanagan keeping that puck out of the Bell Tire zone. Sends it to length. Tipped in. Kazarowski now down in the corner. Centering pass. Looking for Palucci. Couldn't quite get there. And Culver breaking free. Bowman, Flanagan out on ice for Bell Tire. And sent around. Bowman behind her own net. Culver now getting down there. Culver wraparound attempt denied by Bowman. Picked up by Palucci, and she's just going to send it to length. To catch a break, reset, and get a line change. So on ice is going to be Evans, Clemens, Cruciano, Mackenzie Flanagan, and Bowman. Puck is down. Culver going up top to their point. Blocked by Cruciano. Clemens making her way forward. That gets down deep into the Culver zone where it's going to be chased by Evans and Cruciano. Culver coming out. Out to neutral. Bowman defending. Shot in. Turned aside by Grun. Picked up by Flanagan. Up to Cruciano. Cruciano trying to get it deep. Evans finishes it. Cruciano going for a line change. Evans going to pin behind the wall, behind the net, waiting for support. Markovich on ice. Now Mackenzie Flanagan just below us here. And picked up by Martin. Martin's going to send it back down deep into the Culver zone. This is going to be chased down by Dobbs. Dobbs now with possession. Dobbs trying to send it up top for Martin. And intercepted by Culver. Culver's just going to dump it deep. They're going to go for a change. This is going to be picked up by Martin down in the corner of the Bell Tire zone. Martin coming up, sending it up, finding Markovich. Markovich quick pass over to Agbe. Agbe going to the net. Incidental trip there on Agbe. So Bell Tire is going to go back onto a penalty kill here. So we're going to be spending the next part of this period on a penalty kill in the first 6 seconds of this third period. Score is 1-1. Hewer on this draw out with Palucci, Mackenzie Flanagan, and Martin. Puck is down. Culver with possession up to their point. They're going to go D to D. Back around at the hash mark. Played down, defended by Martin now, down into the corner. Up top again, going point to point. Back up top. Shot in's going to get blocked by Hewer. Sent out. Culver's goalie settling it behind their net. Culver going to reset here as they come out. Beltire just going to contain. And Culver has to retreat with Hewer's pressure. And now up through. Culver gains the zone. Flanagan gets a little bit of pressure. Flanagan with some room here is going to send it towards the net. Keep chasing. And Palucci applying pressure now. Palucci getting it back out. Stepped in by Dobbs. Now Palucci. Culver just circling their own zone. 55 seconds remaining here. 45 seconds on the clock. Culver coming out from behind their net. Going rink wide. Markovich and Dobbs out. Picked up by Martin. Martin run over there and shot in. Going to find the back of the net. That's going to put Culver up. All right, as we get going here, we're going to have Evans, Cruciano, Clemens out with Flanagan and Morton. That puck sent down deep into the Beltire zone, picked up by Morton, and sent back behind where Caitlin Flanagan's going to drive it to the corner. We picked up at the half wall by Culver, shot in, blocked, and covered up by Grund. And a little bit of shenanigans happening now in front of the net. All right, 13.1 seconds remaining here in this period. All right, on ice we are going to have Agbe, Markovich, Dobbs, Martin, and Caitlin Flanagan. Puck is down. Culver with possession at the half wall. Picked up by Flanagan. Flanagan trying to get it clear. Agbe battling now here up against the boards. Puck sent down deep into the Beltire zone, and that'll be the end of the second period, and we will head to the third after a short Zamboni Cup. All right, we're going to be back here. Bell Tire Culver, third period. Agbe, Dobbs, Markovich, Martin, Flanagan starting us out here. Dobbs on the draw, puck is down. Puck's over to the wall, sent down deep into the Bell Tire zone. It's going to be chased down by Markovich and Martin, sent back the opposite way. Picked up by Agbe at the half wall. Sent in by Culver, wide of the net. That's going to roll just up to the point and stay in. Martin keeping the pressure on. Markovich sending it over to Agbe. Agbe going to drop it deep. Bell Tire line change. Bellucci, Hewer, Kazarowski out. And that's going to, I don't know what was going on there, but somehow that almost looked like it made its way in. Now they're going to wave icing. Clearly an icing, but that's all right. Picked up by Martin up the wall, finding Hewer. Off her stick and going on to Culver's. At the at the center ice here, half ice. Martin's block is going to send that to the corner. And Culver's going to center pass, and that's going to be chipped out by Bellucci. Going rink wide is Culver. This is going to be defended by Martin. Shot in and covered up by, not covered up by Grun, cleared out by Evans. Culver up at their point. And shooting it in, it's going to hit the sticks of a bunch of people and go back up top to Culver. Sending it down deep. Culver in their corner. Getting poked out by Martin. And now Bellucci. Down to the corner up top. Sent in off a stick and hits the boards. Down low. Picked up by Martin. Tripped up on the play. Cleared up. And out of the zone. Culver now in neutral. Coming up back in is Culver. Poked free by Flanagan. Picked up by Cruciano. Cruciano going up the wall. Cruciano tipping it in. Bell Tire line changes, bringing out Cruciano, Evans, Clemens, Morton, Caitlin Flanagan. Culver coming up through center ice. Aiming the zone. And Evans pinning it up against the wall. Picked up by Cruciano at the half wall. Sending it back in. And at the half wall now picked up by Clemens. Clemens backhands out to neutral. Bell Tire line change is going to bring back out Dobbs, Agbe. And Morton going up to Dobbs. Dobbs just off the end of her stick. Picked up by Markovich down into the Culver zone. Markovich is going to chase behind the Culver net. And that's going to be sent down for an icing. All right, 14:03 on the clock here. Bell Tire line change is going to bring out McKenzie, Bowman, Agbe, Dobbs, Markovich. Dobbs on the draw. Puck is down into the corner. Sent around by Culver. And they're going to chip it out to neutral. Caught at center ice and put down. Picked up by Agbe. Agbe with some good stick work to move it around to get it back down into the Culver zone. Bell Tire goes for another line change, bringing back out Hewer, Bellucci. Agbe still battling down while she waits for support. Up to the point, picked up by Bowman, sent in, collected by Culver. Half wall. Now Hewer dumping it back out, and it's going to miss a mark and go out into neutral. Mackenzie Flanagan over to Bellucci. Bellucci trying to stick work around. And Hewer getting knocked to the ice. At center ice, Kazarowski gets her stick on it. Now at half ice, Culver's going to turn the corner, come up through. It's going to be defended by Bowman. Goes behind the Bell Tire net. Bowman down into the corner. Evans trying to step in and help. Flanagan. Culver coming around into the slot. Culver's shot, going to go wide of the net. Evans and Bowman down. Now Bellucci at the half wall. Bellucci backhands it over to Kazarowski. Kazarowski going to get her stick on it and send it deep. That's going to bring out Caitlin Flanagan and Martin on D, Cruciano, Evans, and Clemens. Cruciano picks it up in neutral, dumps it deep. Going to go down behind the Culver net. 12:25 on the clock. Culver at the half wall. Disrupted by Dobbs. Cruciano getting a skate on it. Sent wide. This is going to be defended by Clemens. Clemens keeps it frozen in neutral here momentarily. And now it's going to get sent down deep into the Bell Tire zone. Picked up off the half wall by Martin. Moving it up to Cruciano. Cruciano going up to Dobbs. Puck coming back the other way. Defended by Flanagan. At Flanagan's feet. And now he's going to move it around. Intercepted by Culver. Going back up to Culver's point. Culver walking in. Shot is blocked out front by Martin. And Martin down into the corner. Sent in by Culver, out to the half wall, picked up by Clemens. Clemens trying to drive it up the boards. Now going to finally make its way free off the glass and out with 11:39 on the clock. Bell Tire line change. Going to bring out Agbe, Markovich, Hewer, Flanagan, and Martin. Backhanded out through neutral, collected in by Culver. Culver gaining the zone, defended by Flanagan. Shot in is going to be blocked by Grund. And Flanagan off the glass and out to neutral. Culver chasing it down. Hewer trying to keep her stick on it. And finally makes its way free. Morton going to go wide to Markovich. Markovich going to shoot in. That's going to be at the legs of Culver. It's going to come right back out. And now Culver with a little bit of a break, defended by Flanagan. Shot's going to go over the net. I think that was off of Grund. Cleared up by Kazarowski to Palucci, who's going to put it down deep into the Culver zone. Palucci, Kazarowski, Evans, Mackenzie Flanagan, and Morton on ice for Bell Tire. This is going to be defended by Flanagan, taken down by Evans, and we're going to end up with a penalty here. Hooking call. All right, so Bell Tire is going to go back onto a penalty kill here. Dobbs, Agbe, Martin, and Mackenzie Flanagan on ice for Bell Tire. Puck is down, one back. Flanagan's going to send it around the boards, picked up by Agbe. Agbe is going to send it to length. Picked up by Culver behind their net. Dobbs applying some pressure. Culver coming up into neutral. Coming down into the Bell Tire zone. Dropped off at their point. Defended by Dobbs here. Agbe. And that puck going rink wide. Picked up by Martin here. Martin going off the boards. Finding Agbe. Agbe tipping it out. That's going to roll the length as they go for a line change, bringing out Markovich and Palucci. Caitlin Flanagan, Martin. Culver in their own zone. Minute and 16 on the penalty kill. Up the boards. Coming up through into neutral. Culver. Defended by Caitlin Flanagan. Culver circling. Now at the half wall. Walking in. Going up top to their point. Now down to the half wall. One-time shot. Covered up by Grund. 9:14 on the clock. Bell Tire line change is going to bring out Hewer. And Markovich with Martin and Caitlin Flanagan on D. Hewer on the draw. Puck is down. Culver with possession. Up to their point. Down to the half wall. Martin gets a stick on it. Pushes it to the corner. Caitlin Flanagan stepping in to battle in the corner. Culver back up top to their point. Shot in. Going to go wide of the net. Culver's going to go back to their half wall. Now going cross ice. Coming in. Blocked by Hewer. Rubbed down by Culver. Back to the half wall. Now back up to their point. 20 seconds remaining here. Flanagan going to send it up the wall. That's going to make its way all the way down. That should clear And that should be just about the end of the Bell Tire penalty kill. 5 seconds remaining. Got 8:23 on the clock. Culver coming up through neutral. Bell Tire back to even strength. This is picked up by Morton. Going up to Agbay. Agbay trying to chip it out. Culver now in neutral. Dobbs getting a stick on it. Bellucci now in the hunt. That's going to get sent deep into the Bell Tire zone, where it's going to go down for an icing. So with 8:01 on the clock, this draw happening inside of the Culver zone. We're going to have on ice Bellucci, Dobbs, and Agbay, out with Morton and Mackenzie Flanagan. Dobbs on this draw. Puck is down. Puck you see on that shot from somebody came out quick, deflected by Culver's goalie, now down behind their own net. And Bellucci into the corner to try and disrupt the pass out. Culver breaks free into neutral. Gaining the Bell Tire zone, defended by Flanagan. Flanagan trying to get her stick on it. Culver still down in the corner, sending it up top to their point. D to D. Agbay applying pressure, shot in. Going to get covered up by Culver. I'm sorry, covered up by Grunt. And now we have a penalty on offsetting. I take that back. That's not offsetting. How's that not offsetting? So that'll put Bell Tire back onto a penalty kill. We're going to have the Flanagans out there with Kazarowski and Hewer. Puck is down, picked up by Flanagan, sent out, and that's going to go down into the Culver zone. Culver coming behind their net, coming out up free, going through neutral, gaining the zone, defended by Flanagan, and now picked up by Hewer. Hewer's going to send that to length. It's going to go on net, and he trapped at the feet of the goalie. Culver now circling. On ice is Kazarowski, Hewer, Martin, and Caitlin Flanagan. Culver circling, going across ice in neutral. Now gaining the zone, chased by Kazarowski, defended by Caitlin Flanagan, down into the corner. Culver hitting the brakes at the half wall, turning back up to their point, going D to D, now down to the hash. One-time shot blocked by Flanagan, sent down by Kazarowski. 51 seconds. Caitlin Flanagan gonna go off after she blocked that shot and subbed in with Mackenzie. Culver now coming up through their zone. Out to neutral, picked up by Martin, sent ahead, picked up by Agbay. And we're gonna get a penalty there on Agbay. So that's gonna be a hooking penalty on Culver. Hooking Agbay as she attempted the pass from Martin. So that'll put us even strength here for 33 seconds and then put Bell Tire into a power play for 1 minute and 27. Dobbs, Agbay, Mackenzie Flanagan, and Martin on ice. Puck is down. Agbay trying to get it back. And Dobbs sends it back to Flanagan. Bell Tire with possession. Shot in. Is going to go far down from Flanagan. And that's going to tie up the game. Great shot by Mackenzie Flanagan. That should not be the end of that penalty. That's even strength. Yeah. Culver going back into the box here. We should still be even strength on the tying goal by Mackenzie Flanagan. All right, Dobbs won that draw back. Picked up by Flanagan, who's going to send it the length of the ice. I think McKenzie thought that that was ending their penalty as well. That was a inadvertent icing by McKenzie. So we'll have a draw inside the Bell Tire zone. Dobbs on this. Agbe out there with McKenzie and Martin. Martin with possession. Going across, finding Dobbs, finding Agbe in stride. Agbe trying to pull back. And that play disrupted. Picked up by Martin. Martin going to send it back down deep into the Culver zone. And now Bell Tire's on a power play. That's going to be picked up by McKenzie, sending it back to Markovich. Markovich going across to Caitlin. We have 6 players. What are we doing? Okay. So we're going to go back on 4-on-4 hockey now. We'll be 4-on-4 for a minute and 14 seconds, and then we'll be back on the penalty kill for 46 seconds. Okay. 5:13 left in this tie game. On ice is going to be Palucci, Markovich, McKenzie, Flanagan, and Martin. Palucci on this draw. Puck is won back by Culver. A lot of pressure by Palucci. Gets a block. Shot in. He's going to go wide of the net. He picked up by Culver in the corner. Chased by Martin. One-time shot. Missed. Picked up by Martin. Now Palucci. Now Bell Tire on a little bit of a rush here. Palucci coming up through. Going to dump it deep. And Palucci's going to go for a change with Markovich as Dobbs steps out with Agbe. McKenzie, Flanagan, and Martin still on ice. 40 seconds on the 4-on-4. That puck picked up free, picked up by Martin. Martin going off the boards, finding Dobbs. Dobbs in a rush now. Dobbs going across, finding, just past Agbe's stick. That's going to be picked up by Culver, coming back the opposite way, chased by Martin. Now picked up by Flanagan. Now picked up by Dobbs. Dobbs going off the wall. That's going to roll down, icing wave. Picked up by Culver in their own zone. Come on, Bell Tire. You're even strength for another 10 seconds. That puck disrupted by Flanagan, picked up by Markovich. Markovich's going to go wide out into neutral. 4 minutes on the clock. Bell Tire now on a penalty kill. This is going to be picked up by Culver behind the Bell Tire net. Now sent up top. Going D to D. Shot in. Pushed wide of the net. Picked up by Martin. Covered up by Grund. To freeze play. Okay. Bell Tire now is going to have out Agbe, Dobbs, Bowman, and McKenzie Flanagan. Got 26 seconds remaining in this penalty kill. 3:39 on the clock. Dobbs on the draw. Puck is down. Culver sending it back up to their point. D to D now. They're constantly going to this number 4 for her slap shot. Going across. Number 4. Here we go. Spinning out free. Chased by Agbe. Agbe pushing it to the back of the net. 4 going up top. They're going back to number 4. And Dobbs playing that beautifully. Bell Tire now back on even strength, but that's going to be sent to length. An icing wave. Culver parents are not happy about the roughing happening. That's going to get tipped into the Bell Tire zone. Picked up by Morton. Morton behind her net. Coming up ice. Morton going up to Evans. Evans, Cruciano. Clemens on ice for Bell Tire. Mackenzie Flanagan down into the corner. Battle happening. Flanagan trying to pick it free. It does. Sends it around to the other way where Cruciano is trying to catch it on the half wall. Picked up now. Backhand pass up to Clemens. And now puck is free at center ice. Cruciano chasing. 2:13 on the clock. Culver with possession. Culver gaining the zone. Evans holding it on the half wall, sending it back out into neutral. Good play. Tire line change is going to bring out. Got Morton and Martin on D. Hewer shot in, goes wide of the net. Picked up by Palucci. Palucci backhanding, finding Kazarowski. Kazarowski maintaining possession. Kazarowski breaking free. Kazarowski gaining the zone. Sends it in on net. It goes wide. Picked up by Hewer and Kazarowski in the corner. Now Palucci. Palucci now in the slot. Palucci shot. Palucci's going to find the back of the net. Just put Bell Tire up. 3-1. 3-2. What a defensive play by Palucci to catch it in the slot and then find the back of the net with 1 minute and 36 seconds left in this game. All right, Bell Tire going to have a line change, bringing out Dobbs, Markovich, Agbe, Martin, and Caitlin Flanagan. Dobbs on this draw. Bell Tire now going to be on the hunt here, watching for this goalie pull. Culver coming up the side, defended by Caitlin. Goalie getting pulled for Culver. This is going to be 6-on-5. Smothered by Bell Tire on the boards here, trying to pick it free. Martin battling at the half wall. Now picked out by Dobbs. Dobbs gets it free. Agbe trying to get it out. Puck comes free again. At center, here comes Martin. Martin sends it up the boards, up to Agbe. Agbe battling. 55 seconds, going wide. Tipped into the Bell Tire zone. This is going to be chased by Caitlin Flanagan. Flanagan moving around to Martin. Martin chipping it up the boards, finding Agbe. Agbe is going to send it down ice. Catch it, catch it, catch it. Oh, it just rolls past the post on the shot by Agbe. 41 seconds remaining here. All right, timeout by Culver. Got Batesy and Rosie coaching this morning with Mike and Dan, I believe, with the 16s. Coming up with the 41-second plan. So Culver's going to come out here with 6 skaters to end this game. And now Bell Tire's going to take a timeout. So back-to-back timeouts. You've let these two teams come up with their game plan for the last 41 seconds. All right. All the timeouts are used. 41 seconds. Run heading to between her net. Martin and Mackenzie Flanagan out on D. Dobbs, Clemens, Agbe for Bell Tire. Dobbs on the draw. Puck is down. Culver with possession. Culver up at their point. Agbe applying pressure. Clemens getting a stick on it. Puck is free. Down in the behind the net. Martin trying to send it up the wall. Gets to the half wall. Culver with possession. Culver shot in. Down in front. And that puck is wide. Frozen at the side of the net. Agbe picking her free. Dobbs is going to backhand it out. Going to be at the feet. And that's going to be collected by Clemens. Doesn't quite make it out. Martin going to send it out into neutral. That's going to put 5 seconds left on the clock. That puck's going to get sent down. Glove down by Flanagan. Shot in. Blocked by Martin. Martin caught that last shot in her shoulder. And that's going to end the game for Bell Tire to come out on top. What an ending. You had Flanagan gloving one down. Martin took one to the collarbone. Bell Tire's going to go out victorious here on this Sunday morning against Culver. We'll be back this afternoon against Washington Pride at 3:20 for our final game here at the JWHL.